a stupid title for a video, but people say you're not allowed to talk about politics and sports, but and those same people that are usually saying you can't talk about politics or in sports are the ones littering my comment section about Mike Tomlin being nothing but a DE hire, a horrible coach, a DE hire. The only reason he has a job is because of the Rooney Rule. So a lot of times these people in my comment section invoke politics towards me and they bring it into the issue. So I think I'm going to talk about it. It was the quote unquote resignation of Mike Tomlin. Did it have anything to do with, I don't know, is it more sensationalism or is it more racism? I think in that case, if you're going to sit there and call Mike Tomlin a mediocre coach, a coach that's not good, a coach that sucks, I think that you can honestly attribute that to deep rooted racism. I honestly think you can attribute that to racism. To sit there, especially like the Mark Maddens of the world, who continually invoke the Rooney Rule in his writings and politics in the writings and say how we shouldn't have a Rooney Rule in the NFL and Tomlin is the byproduct of the Rooney Rule. But I don't know. All this claiming to fire Tomlin to me is almost like, bro, that's the reason why the NFL needs to have a Rooney Rule because of all this rhetoric coming down on Mike Tomlin. And then you got these reports coming out of Mike Tomlin that he signed some type of made some girl some type of non-disclosure agreement saying he got her pregnant. So you know that crowd on X basically aligns themselves with calling themselves Mike Tomlin a DEI hire. So this is where all that fake news stems from, Twitter, because I guarantee you that's fake news. It seems to me like Tomlin is in a very happy relationship with his wife. They have, I believe, three beautiful children together. So I mean, for some type of conservative media to come out here with this bogus ass report about Mike Tomlin is insane. What's more realistic What's more realistic is the Rooneys, the Rooney family, sat down with Mike Tomlin and said, listen, this isn't working. The fans are putting up billboards. People are putting up billboards calling for us to sell the team, even though we have the best win-loss percentage in sports in the past 20 years and won, what, 2 championships during that span? 1 championship during that span. I mean, it's one of the best organizations in the world. They basically are the breadbone and the backbone of the Pittsburgh economy. They attribute so much money to the Pittsburgh economy. So, I mean, I think maybe a lot of these people have deep rooted racism. But then, like I said, what's more realistic is Mike Tomlin and the Rooneys forced him to sign an NDA because they know this is where the sensationalism comes involved. Because as soon as Mike Tomlin gets fired, that's what everybody's going to say. It's racist. This was a racist firing. Manuel Ocho came out and said that it's racist. This had everything to do with race. What's that one girl's name? Jamel Hill. She came out and said, "Oh well, the Steelers to make this right have to hire a coach of color." I mean, the Steelers employed Mike Tomlin for 19 years, so I don't think the Steelers really have to do anything. I think the Steelers could hire a black, blue. It don't matter. All right, they have all the right to hire whoever they want to hire. So, and now let's get back to more sensationalism because John Harbaugh, who I argued before all this stuff even happened, is on the same tier as Mike Tomlin. A McDermott, he's right there on the same tier as Mike Tomlin. If he gets a Super Bowl, he's right there, if not better. Who else got fired as a good coach? Stefanski, two-time coach of the year. I mean, they had a horrible season. I could at least say that's justified. But like a McDermott, I really don't think that's justified. A Harbaugh, I really don't think that's justified. Tomlin, I really don't think that's justified. And these teams, honestly, might regret it. They might not. That's wait and see. But to me, it's really that's what it really boils down to is sensationalism and unrealistic expectationalism from fans too, because Steelers fan base is filled with unrealistic expectations. The Cowboys fan base is another fan base that is filled and littered with unrealistic expectations. So that's why Steeler fans don't want McCarthy here because McCarthy he hasn't won a Super Bowl with Dallas, so I don't want him. He sucks. He only could win one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. Steeler fans have this expectation of like a dynasty like in the 70s when there wasn't a salary cap, when there wasn't like free agency like it is now, when there wasn't all these player agents, when the NFL was still blossoming really into what it is today. So, I mean, was the resignation and the firing of McDermott and Harbaugh attributed to sensationalism, journalists just using names to put out there to get hits and clicks, especially in today's internet age, to divide people up? And then you got Emmanuel Ocho making these comments about Tomlin. You got this person making comments about Mike Tomlin. You got Ryan Clark making comments about Mike Tomlin. But Ryan Clark was basically warranting and going along with the firing of Harbaugh. And the national media was going along with the firing of Harbaugh. And Adam Crawley even mentioned it on his show, 93.7 Fan of Pittsburgh. Well, what if Tomlin gets fired? What if Tomlin was to get fired like Harbaugh fired? Would the coverage be the same? And I don't know if it is. Because to me, Harbaugh with the Giants probably, they're feeling as good as they felt probably in the last 10 years, Giants fans right now, that they just signed Harbaugh. And to me, that's what it really comes down to is the sensationalism. Runt, here we go to the point. You were sitting here asking me why would the Rooneys lie? Why would Tomlin lie? Why would they come out there and say made it look like it was a resignation? Because of the optics, because of the media. They're planning an exit strategy. It's all about politics. It's all about selling a narrative. It's all about selling your fan base a winning culture. That's what the Steelers do better than everybody. That's why the fight song is "Here We Go Steelers." We're going to the Super Bowl every year. That's the expectation. That's the standard. That can't be lived up to. It's a stand. It's an unrealistic standard that can never be lived up to. But Tomlin, like the good token front of the organization that he is, the standard is the standard. We're about competing for championships. We're about winning divisions. And he says everything the Rooney say. So instead of having this, Tomlin probably appreciates, he knows that this is going to be the narrative. He appreciates the 19 years that the Rooneys gave to him. The Rooneys appreciate the 19 years that Mike Tomlin gave to them. So they didn't want an ugly exit. But it got to the point where fans were so invested in, we got to win a playoff game. And it's been what? Since 2017. So how long is too long? Is too long. And it got to the point where fans were yelling in the stadium to get this man fired. And was it really justified? Probably not. Because you put Tomlin with the Bills right now, they might be an instant contender. You put a Tomlin with Cincinnati right now, they might be an instant contender. Hell, the Ravens just signed the coach. Who knows? You bring Tomlin down there in Baltimore with a legitimate quarterback, because he hasn't had a legitimate quarterback in a very long time. They might win a Super Bowl. You never know. Because the Ravens defense was soft and sorry as shit this year. So you bring in a better defensive mind with Baltimore with that offense. Same with Cincinnati. a guy that has provided a winning culture for 19 years, I guarantee you any Cincinnati fan will sign up for that. I guarantee you any Cincinnati fan will sign up for John Harbaugh right now. I guarantee you any Cincinnati fan will sign up for Sean McDermott right now. I guarantee you any Raiders fan would sign up for all three right now. Any Cleveland fan would sign up for all three right now. Any Cardinals fan would sign up for all three right now. So there's the standards as well. The standards. And there's high standards in Pittsburgh. Now, that's why I'm saying we got to bring in McCarthy. You have, as the Steelers organization, to keep this front up as a resignation. We can't go in the route. We can't be looking for the new 20-year head coach. Chuck Noll, he went. His time went on. They brought a new coach in. Tomlin was a good coordinator. They brought him in. It is what it is. Does it have to be a young defensive coordinator? Does it have to be that? Doesn't have to be that. You don't need a coach for 20 years. The Steelers' biggest issue, which, can be accredited to Mike Tomlin, and I've argued that, he doesn't have a lot of say in team building, but I think his opinion is validated and his voice is loud in the room, so his opinion has a lot of value. Does he make the final decisions? No, but his opinion has a ton of value and a ton of merit within that organization and within that room. So this heavy investing defensively in terms of the salary cap could be an issue. And I talked about that before the season. The Steelers need to quit getting on their knees every time a star player wants to come out here and demand to be the highest paid player in the league, especially in that TJ Watt contract situation. You could have leveraged yourself a better fucking deal. You could have leveraged yourself in a better deal. Now you're stuck on TJ, who I said if you sign him is on the downswing of his career and you're paying him top tier, top flight, top talent money. You're paying him like he still gets 20 sacks a season, but he don't even get 10. He ain't get 10 this year. So McCarthy is the start to a new direction. And then, you want to have a young off OC. But let's be honest, Ron, most coaching contracts are only 3 years. So even if we do bring in a Shula, a 39, whatever, however old he is, 37, 38, however old he is, a Shula to come in here and coach this squad, how long you're going to get him for 3, maybe 5, maybe he signs a 5-year deal. But why, as the Steelers organization, are you going to commit that long term of a deal to a coach who's never been there and never done that? So whatever coach it's going to be like a 3-year deal. So you're telling me his age has any? No, I'd rather have McCarthy, a guy that's coached longer than Shula's probably been alive, to put this team in a new direction. And a guy that has a huge, great track record of developing quarterbacks. And that's another biggest issue for the Steelers. They haven't been able to have a quarterback the past 5-6 years. You need someone that knows how to develop a quarterback. So you're bringing a McCarthy and I think a Shieldhouse. Why can't Shieldhouse go from passing game coordinator to Steelers offensive coordinator? That's basically a bump in position. They'll probably bump him up in pay. And then he's going with McCarthy wins another Super Bowl. He's a Hall of Famer, surefire, no doubt, just like Coleman. So yeah, as the Steelers to keep this front up as a resignation, and this front up that there's no wasted years, and we're going to be playing here we go Steelers, here we go Steelers, here we go Steelers. Mike McCarthy he's the ticket. He's the golden ticket. The Steelers have the golden ticket. They need a quarterback. There's not many options in the draft. There's basically no options in free agency outside of Aaron Rodgers. How do you entice Aaron Rodgers to come back? Mike McCarthy. And this really it's probably what's going to happen. Even though a lot of Steelers fans don't want to hear that, it's probably what's going to happen. Screw McCarthy and the Cowboys. And that's why I'll be done with the corrupt bullshit as soon as we want to play. How is that corrupt bullshit? That's not corrupt bullshit. That's an organization planning a business exit strategy. Was best for both parties. And they agreed that that would be best for both parties. And did he have to sign an NDA? Probably not. It probably didn't come to that. It probably came with two men looking each other in their eyes and shaking hands, saying, I love you. They probably hugged each other. They might have even cried. But the media, sensationalism, and does it all have to do with racism? No. But I think there's a certain part, especially in Pittsburgh media, coming out of the Tribune Review. The Tribune Review, especially, very conservative outlet, they almost have an agenda to write against Mike Tomlin and keep initiating politics. The same people, the same conservatives who say you shouldn't bring politics into sports, they want to turn this into a racial thing. They want to turn this into, oh, we shouldn't have, what are they? Equal opportunity employment laws. We shouldn't have the Rooney Rule. But for this guy, this big, I hate to be mean like this, but this big fat 500-pound curmudgeon piece of shit that can't walk from the kitchen to the motherfucking bathroom, bro, is going to sit here and call a man that's never had a losing season 19 years in a row, been to 2 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl, mediocre every day of your life over and 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 over again. And every year write them off to go last in the division, and they exceed your quote unquote expectations every year, and then you still run around and say you're right and Tomlin's a fraud. The only fraud is you fat slob piece of trash. A slanderous fraud. Not worried about the comments. What I say is what matters. I'm the speaker here. I'm the speaker of the house. You listen. And that's the stream for today.